Let's take a look at how to use the first value and last value function available in SQL. The first value function is a function that helps you to identify the first record within a partition or the entire table if a partition by is not specified. The last value function is very similar to the first value function. However, it focuses on identifying the last record within a partition or the entire table if the partition by is not specified. Both syntaxes for the functions are very similar, with the key difference being the initial keyword being provided to start the function. So for the first value function, you'd start off by providing the first value keyword, and the last value function, you'd start it off by providing the last value keyword. Regardless of the function, they all take the same input parameters and are constrained to the same requirements. So if you were to use one of these functions after providing that initial keyword, for example first value, then you'd have in brackets the column name that you want to have the function return as its response in your result. Then you'd place the over keyword, and in brackets it takes two inputs within this parameter. It takes the partition by and the order by. Note, the order by is required and the partition by is optional. The partition by allows for you to group the records, and the order by allows for you to return the records in a particular order. Let's take a look at these functions in practice to get a better understanding as to how they'll truly operate. Today we'll be looking at our orders table. So we're going to execute this statement to see the records that are present. And we have 10 records in this particular table with 5 different columns. So we have the order by, we have the order ID, the order date, customer name, city, and order amount. If we are interested in using the function to identify the customer, the first customer that would have made a purchase based off of a particular city, then we're able to use the first value function to identify that. And we can use the last value function to find the customer who had placed the last order based off of a particular city. So what we'd be doing in creating this statement, we would specify the column that we want to have returned to us and the partition by, so that it knows what it's focusing on to make its assessment. So let us create that statement. So what we have here is the select statement, where we're returning all of the existing columns, and we have both the first value and the last value function specified. As a reminder, the first value function and the last value function's syntax is the exact same, with the only difference being the initial keyword. So for the first value function, we've provided first value keyword, and in bracket we have provided the column that we want to have the data returned to us. And then using the over keyword, we're then able to specify the partition by. So we want to group the assessment by the city, and we want to order it by city, and it will be ordered in ascending order, as by default it orders in ascending order if that criteria is not specified. And it will return in a column called first order. Let's change this from date to customer. So we're going to highlight and execute as we're expecting to return the first value and the last value. So basically we want to see who was the first customer that purchased an item in the particular city and the last customer who purchased an item in a particular city. So after executing, we have our results. In the first order customer and the last order customer, we're seeing various names. So for the first order customer, we're seeing David Jones. So let's take a look. We have our query ordered by city. So we have Arlington, and we're looking at the order date. And as we are seeing here, we have the first customer being David Jones and the last customer being David Brown. Now, if we wanted to specify by order date, all we'd have to do is to change the value to order date. And what this will do is it will return the first order date as the value in the first order. And we're going to change this column to ordered date and execute. So what we're seeing now is the data being returned, and what we had changed was customer name to order date. So what it is doing now is it is looking in the order date column and returning the first order date based off of the city, because April 2nd, 2017 would have been after April 1st, 2017. However, the city is the key factor using to identify what it should use to focus its search and result to identify the order date. So this is just a quick look at how to use the first value and last value function that's available in SQL.